Hello, sir. My name is Harsh Kumar, and my topic of discussion is for seminar topic is mobile file system. So, in today's world where mobiles and computer are so much interconnected with each other, and on the server side, every time million of transaction is going through the mobiles and computers. So, it is really important to handle all those transactions in the correct way, in the serializable way, to ensure that no data is being mismatched. So to ensure this thing, there are several protocol is being invented. So mainly I am here going to discuss two-phase locking protocol, and this was the one of the most initial phase locking protocol um, in the for the transaction. So in the two-phase locking protocol, mainly in this PPT, here I am going to explain its basic principle. What are the application? What are the real life application of this two-phase locking protocol? What are the actual algorithm running behind the two-phase locking protocol and its drawback? So for the basic principle, it always guarantees serializability. Here, serializability means uh, if uh, one transaction after transaction one, then transaction means transaction one after transaction one, transaction two will carry, means one after another transaction by transaction, one after another, one thing will be carried by another. And in the two phase logging protocol, they are mainly two phase, growing phase and sinking phase. So in the growing phase it will only try to attain lock, means it will only gain lock, acquire lock in the growing phase, and in the sinking phase it will only release lock but not acquire lock. Similarly, in the growing phase also it will not release lock, it is not allowed to release lock. So here is the uh, a image which is plotted on the time x-axis as a time. So from time t to some time t dash tak, uh, it is trying to acquire the log, and for some time it trying to read data and try to perform some operation, and in the sinking phase it release the log, it is releasing the log, all the log which are acquired by the in the growing phase, it is now releasing the log. So this was the basic concept about the two-phase locking. And the real life application of this 2PL is that is the ticket booking system, like railway ticket, bus ticket, movie ticket. In all this ticket booking system, the algorithm which are running behind the scene is the 2PL. Although there are also several advanced algorithm which is more powerful than 2PL, but the basic principle is that everything has some characteristics of 2PL. So let's understand with a scenario. Suppose a user go to IRCTC or some online platform to book a ticket. So whenever the user will click on the book ticket, so for some amount of time it will enter into a lock room where he is allowed to book the ticket, and in that certain period of time no other user from the outside is allowed to book that ticket uh, within certain amount of time. It means other user is already inside, so that no other transaction or no other user is allowed to book the ticket. So in this way serializability or a transaction error can be handled, and the same thing happen with the banking transaction also. It also work with the same concept, like if you want to transact some money from person A to person B. So in the same order, it provide a lock room for to read and write the data, and simply in that particular amount of time the operation should be performed, otherwise the session timeout or some error thing happened. So this was the little bit application of the real-time application of the two-phase locking. And the real algorithm that is running behind the two-phase locking is uh, we are going to discuss the basic algorithm that is running behind the two-phase locking. But before um, understanding the algorithm, uh, here we need to understand four things. First, on the transaction, we can only here we are only perform read operation and write operation. And for to acquire the read operation, means to perform the read operation, we are going to acquire the shared lock. And if you want to perform the write operation, then we are going to acquire the exclusive lock. So for read operation, shared lock, and write operation, exclusive lock. So let's understand the algorithm. I will also explain it with a example, so it will be more clear. Um, so suppose there is a transaction Ti which is trying to acquire a lock on D for the read operation. Here this algorithm is for the read operation. So it will first check that Ti has a lock. If Ti has a lock on D, means Ti has already a lock on D. So it will then simply uh, read the data from the D. Else it will wait for some time so that no other their neighbor's transaction has exclusive lock, means lock X on D. If no other neighbor transaction has exclusive lock on lock D, then it will simply then it will simply read the data from the D and enter and the read operation is performed. Um, and for the write and to perform the write operation, similarly, if a transaction Ti wants to perform the write operation on D, so it will first check a exclusive lock on D. If exclusive lock is already on the D, then it will simply perform the write operation. Else, else if necessary, it will wait for some time or search for its nearby transaction that no other transaction has any lock on D, means its neighbor transaction does not have any type of lock on D, like no shared lock, no exclusive lock on its nearby transaction. Then it will simply upgrade. It can simply lock that system and perform the write operation. And also, if Ti, means if the transaction Ti has lock S, means it has the permission to read the data on D, but till now it has not permission to write the data. So it observed that it has permission to read the data. So it will simply upgrade lock on D to lock X, means it will simply upgrade its lock from shared lock to exclusive lock, and then perform the write operation. So it was really hard to understand through the example through the real algorithm. So I have taken a small example to understand the basic algorithm. So let's suppose we have a transaction T1 and T2. So transaction T1 acquires a shared lock on data A. If how it can acquire the data A, because it's seen that because it see that it doesn't have any log previously on D, so it just log the D and then simply read the data on the D. So it acquired a log on the S. And similarly on the second side, transaction T2, uh, on the data A, shared lock is also guaranteed on the transaction T2. In here, one point is noted that shared lock can be guaranteed, exclusive and shared lock can't be guaranteed, or shared and exclusive lock can't be guaranteed. Means read operation at the same time can be guaranteed, and all other transaction is prohibited. So these two transactions has now read capability on the data A, and and uh, and it has acquired lock. Means transaction T1 is in the growing phase, means it will acquire the lock, all the lock it will acquire, and now it is asking for the permission to acquire the lock on the B. So exclusive lock on the B, so it will get exclusive lock on B without any problem, because it saw that no other transaction is nearby has exclusive lock on D, so it just get the exclusive lock without any problem. And then in the next phase, suppose it unlock the A, and here one point is noted that if it starts unlocking its data, is unlocking its period, so it cannot again lock until it's committed. So transaction T1 will is in now unlock, means is shrinking phase, in unlocking phase, and the transaction T2 try to read the data on the D, write the data on the D. So it will ask for the permission, like it saw its neighbor that it if D has any type of lock in their neighborhood, in their surrounding transaction. So as you can see, there is no such D transaction here, so it will acquire the lock here, and because it will get the lock here, and in the later course of time, T1 is trying to unblock B. So, and if T2 is also trying to unblock its data like ABC, anything. So T2 is also trying to unblock the data. So in this period, from this point of time, it will not demand for more lock. It can only unlock its data. I think, sorry sir, I think it should be D. So I hope this get little bit clear how the real algorithm is working. And uh, every protocol have some drawback, every protocol have some cost involved in it, and also this algorithm is also has some drawback, like deadlock and starvation, because it is guarantees realizability. So in this case, deadlock is possible. Suppose there are n number of transactions, and one transaction is acquiring lock, and in the second transaction it is also start acquiring lock, but it was acquired by the transaction T1, so it cannot be permitted to transaction T2. Same with the case of T3, T4, T5. So in this case, transaction are means transaction are locked into a certain period, like an infinite period, to acquire the lock. Suppose some transaction is filled, so it will acquire into a deadlock period. So it has a deadlock capacity, and starvation is also possible. Yes, sir. So this was the real algorithm, its application, some drawback, and basic concept behind the algorithm. So we implemented the algorithm in the Python, and I we have also shared the code. So thank you, sir.